Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing. We are less than 500 subscribers away from 8,000. 8,000 subscribers in about a month, in about less than a month time frame. That's crazy. All right, and it's all thanks to you guys. If you didn't catch my live yesterday, I talked about an incident that happened at Wasco State Prison. Prison guard went nuts, took the prison hostage. You can go check that out. With that being said, if you haven't tapped into my Instagram, it's Hector__Bravo. Go over there and give that a like. Now on to this episode. It's been a while since I talked about a riot, okay? I like to spice things up a little bit, mix it up. This riot right here that I'm going to talk about happened in 2008-ish. 2008. The reason I know that is because there's somebody on this channel that was an inmate in Delta Gym during a big staff assault that happened. It was the Southsiders went off on these two officers, and he was giving me the back detail on that side of the house, which is cool to be able to dialogue and be able to kind of see two sides to a coin. I was not in that staff assault, however, he was. I did eventually come down from San Diego to Centinela and clean up the mess. And it was a mess. So the reason I bring that up, the reason why I bring that staff assault in Delta Gym was because that entire month, there was a month full of staff assaults at Centinela State Prison. I think there was some on Charlie Yard, for sure, Bravo Yard. Then that big ass one in Delta Gym. So it was consecutive, right? So the administration at that time had some common sense. The good old days. What they did was they put extra staff members in the gym. You have to remember the gyms were housing inmates at the time. Bunk beds. So on a regular day, you would have two officers at the podium. It's like an elevated podium where you can see everybody. And one officer up in the gym gun, the observation post with a Mini 14 and a 40 millimeter less than lethal weapon. With the new staffing for that month, they had four officers on the podium. So they doubled it by two, and then they had an additional gunner. So now you have two gunners and four floor cops as a result of all these staff assaults that are happening throughout the institution. Well, 2008. I was doing a swap. All right. When you're brand spanking new, they make you, for all the viewers that don't know, when you're brand spanking new, you're on rotation. Meaning you're going to get rotated through all the shifts, all the watches, different positions. All right. Unless you're pretty, then you're just going to be up in staff entrance. Just kidding. But with Saturday, Sundays off. But you already know the get down. So, when I was assigned on first watch, meaning the graveyard shift, I freaking hated that shift. Oh, I couldn't stand it. So my buddy, who I worked with at Centinela and I worked with at Donovan, we would do swaps. He didn't mind it. On this particular day, I was working for him on third watch in Alpha Gym Gun. Okay? Meaning I'm one of two gunners up at the top, taking care of my four floor cops because they gotta do count. Count consists of telling your inmates, get on your bunks, count time. On the microphone. See, I didn't lose it. So I bet you there's no warden that could do that right now, right? Because they never worked the line. So they got to go in between the bunks and count, right? You got a little piece of paper. It was count time. They got done doing their count. You had all races in Alpha Gym at this time. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to keep it honest with you guys. All right? Because I have up until this point, and I will continue to do. When my cops were done doing their count on the floor, they went back to the podium It was kind of a little bit of downtime between the release of chow, meaning the evening meal, like around 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. ish. I started to nod off, like trying to catch a little bit of seconds of sleep, a little bit of minutes. Like I said, I was on first watch, the graveyard, so doing double shifts, 16 hours, 8 hours, and then going home for 4 days. So I'm nodding off. I'm asleep. All of a sudden, didn't take long. I heard my partner yell, "Oh shit!" And followed by like rumbling and bouncing and metal clanking and everything, right? I had the 40 millimeter up against the cage, up against the front of my the cage, because it's like you're looking through like this. It kind of hurts your eyes after a while, but there's slots where you can shoot out of or throw grenades out of. I jumped up, right? Picked up the 40 millimeter, put it through one of those slots, looked down. Yeah, the gym went off. It went off code 3 Riot. The blacks and the Mexicans. They're fighting in front of me, in between bunks. They are fighting everywhere. By the showers that were over there by the entrance. For sure by the latrine area, by the bathrooms. Crack alley. I mean, it is pockets of fighting, right? Code 3. They're not, get down, the alarm. I start shooting. I initially shoot like to my front, because that's where it was I could see. And you're supposed to shoot waist down. So, boom, shoot one, 40 millimeter. Reload. Mind you, we have two gunners. We have double the ammunition. So I have my load. He has his load. Standard issue. So that's double. The cops on the floor, they were just standing up like at the podium, like just watching everything. Like, I mean, there really is not shit that they can do, right? Their best bet was to just stay at that podium and stay out of danger. Plus, these rounds were bouncing around. The 40 millimeter less than lethal round. Thought I might have had one laying around. I guess I don't. Anyways, the 40 millimeter less than lethal round. It's like a little sponge round, right? With like little there's little wooden blocks that there's like, I can't remember if it's 3 or 5 little blocks that'll they skip, and you're supposed to skip them, and they hurt you. Yeah, lighting them up. Man, lighting them up. They're still fighting. One of a thought that went through my head, if you're wondering, like, Hector, what went through your head? Well, what went through my head was like, man, I don't have to worry about them shooting back at me. Because this 2008. In 2004, I was in Iraq. Only 4 years prior, but it was still fresh in my mind. I was still kind of going through it. And then you have to worry about people shooting back at you when you're shooting at them. So I remember thinking like, oh shit, they're not shooting back at me. Like, I don't have to like shoot, duck. Like, it's just straight unload, reload. I kind of remember the door to the gyms opening, right? And my buddy, he was an officer. Man, I told you the department is small. We used to work together on Alpha Yard as officers. He's now a sergeant at Donovan, and then I went over to Donovan as a sergeant and lieutenant. So he tells me, damn, bro, we couldn't run in. We could not run in because all we saw were the rounds just ricochet. Can you imagine? It's kind of like ping pong or, like pinball, ping pong, whatever you want to call it. Just shit bouncing around all over the place. Inmates fighting. They stop. They get down. This was going on for a couple minutes. Blacks and Mexicans, inmates. I shot everything I had up there. My partner shot everything he had up there. The guys at the podium were just chilling. Like I said, they were just watching. Like, I can't recall if they were spraying. They might have been spraying with their MK9, their pepper spray. They might have. I don't recall that. I looked to the bathroom area. All the black inmates had pushed to the bathroom area. The Mexicans were kind of just scattered and down. I see a black inmate flopping around, convulsing. The dude was convulsing. That's the word I'm going to use. That's what he was doing. Convulsing. I'm like, oh my God, did I shoot this guy? Did I shoot this guy in the head and now he's convulsing and now I'm going to prison? That shit went through my head, right? But because I was shooting all races, I wasn't aiming for their heads, but like I see this dude bouncing around and I'm like, oh my God, I fucking killed this guy. It turns out, the staff members, they come, they get him, they load him on a gurney, on a stretcher, and they take him out. Fast forward, it turns out that inmate got stabbed by the Mexicans in the lung, punctured his lung. That's kind of common. Lung is getting punctured, and stabbed in the scrotum. Yeah, the nuts. Dude got stabbed in the nuts. And he was suffering a asthma attack. That's what caused him to start seizing up or doing whatever he was doing. Fucking out of there. Go get some help. Went to go get that medical treatment. Now comes the restraint process. Fuck. This riot wasn't a mess, like as far as Bravo Jim's riot that I talked about, because there wasn't much chemical agents. I don't recall, very minimal. I think they probably threw one grenade, but it was mostly the shooting up at the top because we had two gunners. I remember there's the way to get in through the gym gun is through the rooftop. I remember the doors bursting open, the door, boom, and the way that the sunlight was hitting, it was my homie from Hawaii. This dude had long hair, like long hair, crazy. He had a gas mask on, crazy ass long hair, and was holding like this all kinds of rounds. Say, here, bro, I got you. Fuck, I look like a fucking monster coming through the door. First, I had to, like, the focus, like, oh shit, hey, we're good right now, but here, give me a couple. So we get a couple rounds, we put them there. But they had already stopped fighting. That was a wrap. That was a Code 3 riot. Alpha Gym. Blacks and Mexicans. Probably 2008. I came in 2006, early 2007. I had a year in the department. I was on a swap, working third watch for a friend, right? We had two gunners up there instead of one. We had four floor cops on the floor instead of two, as a result of all the staff assaults that were happening that month at Centinela State Prison. This is a level 3. This is the level 3 GP. At that time, I want to say, well, Charlie had already converted to level 4, but the rest of the prison was level 3. And all GP, no S and Y. But there you go on that riot. There's a couple more I'm going to speak about as you stay tuned. All right, so continue to share. Whatever it is you're doing is freaking working. I'm going to do a live on Wednesday. So stand by. All right? Keep pushing forward.